Hi everyone, I'm Elaine Beck, and this is It's Not About Us. We are so excited because we are here tonight with CPAC, and as you know, our show's on CPAC now, Eduardo, and we're so excited because we have Eduardo with us, and I told him we were going to start out a little light with some fun here. Eduardo, would you please pronounce your last name for the people?
Verástegui. There you go. It was good, no? It was good.
You did that really well.
Thank you, thank you.
So we're here tonight, though, for something very special and very serious, and something that we want to share with all of you here at CPAC now. And that is that just like the name of our show is It's Not About Us, we know that that means that it's about God and what we do in this world. And so many things are happening that are evil. And one of them is the subject we're going to talk about tonight. But we're going to share with them the way that they can see it. And as sad as it will be to watch it, they can see it and then they can do something about it. So could you tell us about the movie Sound of Freedom that is right now premiering?
Sound of Freedom is a true story.
Yes.
About an American hero named Tim Ballard. I met Tim Ballard 8 years ago in Los Angeles, California. And you know, when you meet a real hero, it's incredible. Because meeting him inspired me when I learned what he was doing with his friends, ex-Navy SEALs, ex-FBI agents, ex-CIA agents. These guys, they travel around the world undercover, rescuing children that are kidnapped for sexual exploitation. They have rescued thousands of children, and of course I was inspired in one hand, but in the other hand I was sad. I was shocked. I was depressed. It was when he explained to you in details what these kids are going through. It's very, very sad. But I remember when he looked at me. And he said, Eduardo, it's very sad, yes, very sad, but it's more sad now that you know it. If you do nothing, what are you going to do, right?
I agree.
And so I knew that I couldn't look the other way around. I had to do something. I'm a filmmaker. Well, I have a weapon of mass instruction and inspiration. Film, movies can move people. Media influence how people think, as you know. So I made a promise to God, I made a promise to my parents, I made a promise to myself that I will dedicate my entire life to end child trafficking along with Tim Ballard and all the heroes around the world that are fighting every day to end child trafficking. And that's why this movie is so special. This movie is not about us.
That's right, it's not about us.
It's not about us, it's about the millions of children who are kidnapped every year. These kids are going through a lot. 10 to 15 times a day, they're being raped. For many years, and after that they open them and they sell their organs. How can you look the other way around? How can you remain silent? What if this is your daughter? Which that's what I had to do in my mind I needed something that motivated me every day, because when you hear numbers, millions of children, and you hear the statistics and everything, it helps. But you know what helps more? When you think about, what if this is my son and it's missing? Or
what if it is, a sister?
Exactly.
Or a friend, or, anybody that
someone
you
that
know
you love
and love.
And you care, right?
That's right. You think about that feeling of what it's really like to have somebody that you love and they get caught up in this.
Imagine.
Well,
that's what helped me when I thought, what if this is my son, and what if my son is missing? What would I do? Well, first of all, I will stop everything that I'm doing. I will hope the world will stop everything they're doing so they can help me to find my child. Well, don't wait for this tragedy to happen to you for you to wake up. Let's prevent, so other parents, they don't have to, to lose their children. And because I don't think there is nothing more evil right now in this world than child trafficking for sexual exploitation. And if we don't do something now, all of us, you and I, the pain of these children, sooner or later, will reach out to all of us. And then we will be living a nightmare that is going to be very hard to wake up if we don't do something again now. The good news is we're doing something. That's hope. And that's why this film is so important, because yes, it's very, it's an action movie, right? You're going to be entertained. You're going to see the reality of this evil problem, but at the same time you will live with hope, because the character, Tim Ballard, the hero who travels around the world to save children, he's going to inspire you. He's going to give you hope. And my hope as a filmmaker is that when you finish in this film, when you leave the theater, you will leave asking the same question I asked myself 8 years ago when I met him in Los Angeles.
And still
what
do
can
every
I do?
day, I bet.
What can I do? Exactly.
Yes.
So what can you do? And my goal too is to raise awareness, because there's millions of people that they don't even know that this problem exists. How can you become a solution if you don't even know that this problem exists in the first place, right?
Right.
So I hope that when millions of people see this film, there's no more excuse to say, well, I didn't know, now you know.
Right.
What are you going to do it?
Right.
What are you going to do about it?
Right. And sadly, we have to admit, in our world, people turn on the news and they hear these numbers every day. There's so many million coming across the border, and there's so many people dying of fentanyl, and there's so many kids being sex trafficked. And they never let it touch them. So I encourage people to see this movie so it can reach your heart, your mind, your soul, because this movie is going to give them the eye opening and the awakening that they need to understand that this is about all of us in this country and around the world that it's touching. And I'm so proud to be part of CPAC and getting to know you, Eduardo.
Thank you. Likewise.
I've had the pleasure of getting to know you and seeing what you're doing, and the wonderful people that are in it. Can you name for our audience some of the people that are in it and some of the stories?
Well, the movie is directed by Alejandro Monteverde, a very talented Mexican filmmaker. He's the writer and the director of the film, my business partner. And when I asked Tim Ballard, when Alejandro and I asked Tim Ballard, who do you want to play you?
Right.
He said, Jesus Christ. No, I'm serious, Tim. He said, I'm serious. Actually, well, no. Jim Caviezel, the actor who played Jesus Christ in The Passion of Christ.
Amen. Yes.
I know him, I said, but he doesn't look like you. He's taller than you. He's older than you. It doesn't matter, Eduardo. It's not about just to find another great actor.
No.
I want an ambassador of freedom, someone who is in love with Jesus.
Amen.
And that's Jim Caviezel. He said, well, that's true.
And
he's an amazing actor too. So I'm going to text him right now. And I was thinking, like, he's going to answer the typical Hollywood actor answer, call my manager, call my agent, send the script there, we'll see it. Right. No, he was very nice. He said, let's meet tonight. So Alejandro and I went, met with him, pitched the story to him. He started crying. He said, this is more personal to me than for you guys. Send me the script tomorrow, I'm in. And it was amazing because the next day he calls me and he tells me, there's one challenge. My wife saw Narcos Colombia on Netflix and she's a little afraid me going to Colombia to film this movie. Is there any way we can film this somewhere else? I said, no, but let me ask Tim, what can we do?
Right.
So I called Tim Ballard and I said, there's a good news and a bad news. The good news is Jim Caviezel is in. Bad news is his wife saw Narcos Colombia on Netflix and she's not comfortable, her husband going to Colombia to film this movie.
Right.
Well, tell her that if 30 ex-Navy SEALs will be enough to protect him and solve. I passed the message. Next thing you know, we're in Colombia. We're filming the movie, and 30 ex-Navy SEALs are there protecting Jim, and they're on set and everyone. And but half of them were not on set on the second day.
Right.
Then I pretend like nothing, like nothing happened. I was like pretend like I didn't know what was going on, but month and a half later, these guys were not there every day, and I'm the producer. I know who is on set.
Right, sure.
Later on, I'm reading a newspaper, local newspaper from Colombia, that it says Colombia government arrested, X amount of traffickers and rescued more than 200 children who were kidnapped for sexual exploitation in Cartagena, Colombia. And the way how was the article was written, it was like in the movie. So I run to see Tim Ballard and I said, look, my friend, like in the movie. And he smiled and he said, that was us. What? We did it. The guys were not on set. We were doing an operation underground and we were the ones who rescued the children with the help of the police, federal police from Colombia, of course, right? But we give the credit to them because we still need to be here underground. Right. That's why our names are not on the article.
Right.
God bless for Jim Caviezel's wife who said not in the beginning. Because of her, actually was that bad news was a great news, was a blessing because of her. These guys were able to be there rescuing these children.
Right, right. And that's just what I was going to say. Didn't you say there was somewhere around 200 children that was rescued? And so that's before the movie ever came out.
Before the film was even film complete.
Right, right.
That's God.
So it is God. And that's God. You know, I always say that when you have moments like that, that's God putting the period at the end of that sentence. This is it, period.
Yes.
This is the right thing. And so now...
Because it's what you just said in the beginning, and that's when I realized it's not about us. No. It's about the children.
That's
God's
right.
children are not for sale.
No.
We're just the instruments. We're the adults, the brothers who need to take care of our little brothers and sisters who are suffering so much, you know? And again, that's why my favorite line in the movie is when Vampiro, one of the characters in the movie, played by Bill Camp, asked Tim Ballard, who are you? Why are you doing this?
Right, right.
And he said, because God's children are not for sale.
That's right.
I'm doing the same. I'm working on this movie. I'm working in this movement. And the phrase that comes out of my heart right now is the same line that I heard for the first time when Tim said that to me. God's children are not for sale. If you ask me, why are you doing this? I will answer you the same thing, because God's children are not for sale. They're my brothers. They're your brothers. They're your brothers. What are we doing to end this nightmare?
Right. So let's wrap this up with some good news. Tell everybody when the show is going to be out, and to go and check out your local theaters. And if it's not booked in there, let's give them a call and make sure they book it.
Yes.
But when is this movie opening?
8 years of our lives working in this movie for 2 hours of your time.
Right.
Finally, July 4th, Independence Day, freedom. That's the day when this film is going to be coming out. Why freedom? Well, because in one hand we are going to be celebrating freedom, but on the other hand, we need to do something to bring freedom back to those children who, on that day, they won't be able to celebrate freedom, but we can do something about it. So I beg you, in the name of so many children that are kidnapped right now. There's more slavery today than when slavery was legal. So we can do something about it. You can do something about it. And I think the first thing that you can do right now, go and see this movie. Go and see this movie, and after you see this movie, tell everyone that you know what you saw. Share the trailer. Visit our website, sonoffreedommovie.com, and learn what else you can do to help us to end child trafficking. Join the army. Be part of this movement. Sound of Freedom. Let's free the children. Together, we can end this terrible reality.
Well, thank you, Eduardo, for taking the time to do this show tonight while this premiere is going on here in Washington. We are at the Museum of the Bible for the premiere with CPAC, and so many wonderful supporters and people that already understand what this is. And we're so grateful for you and Jim Caviezel and the gentleman that, what was his name? Alejandro. All of the people that have put their heart into this for 8 years, people. This didn't happen overnight. This was 8 years of blood, sweat, and tears, because that's what those children have every day, is blood, sweat, and tears that they live through. So please, all of you, see the movie. Pray all the time for these children. Pray for the heavens to come down and save them. And you're part of that. We all have to make ourselves part of this to make it happen. So please, come back to CPAC now anytime. We're here for you. We try and give the good news. This is good news, what we're doing. We're confronting the evil with the help of Eduardo and so many others. So God bless you, and we'll see you next time.
God bless you.